Chosen one, stop what you're doing. Right now, just stop. Because what I'm about to say, heaven has been holding back until this exact moment. There is a woman in your life, and something about her has never sat right in your spirit. You can't explain it. You can't prove it. But every time you walk away from her, you feel like something was quietly taken from you. Your peace, your clarity, your sense of direction. And you told yourself, maybe I'm being paranoid. Maybe I'm being unfair. She's been nothing but kind to me. But kindness is not the same as alignment. And that difference, that one distinction, has silently destroyed more chosen lives than any open enemy ever could. This message is not gossip. This is not bitterness dressed up in scripture. And this is absolutely not an attack on women, because God uses women mightily, and the enemy knows it. That's exactly why this warning exists. Because the most dangerous disruptions don't arrive with warning signs. They arrive wearing perfume. They arrive feeling like warmth on a cold night. They arrive at your lowest moment with the right words, the right timing, the right smile. And slowly, like a fire you thought was just keeping you warm, they begin consuming the house. You've felt it. You felt that quiet drain after certain conversations, that strange second guessing after spending time with someone who claims to love you, that heaviness where there should have been peace. That was not weakness. That was God tapping on your shoulder. Before this message ends, you will know the difference between attention and alignment. You will recognize the specific signs of a relationship sent to support your destiny versus one sent to delay it. And I'm going to show you the one emotional trap that keeps chosen people locked to the wrong person for years longer than God ever intended. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Everything. Your calling, your peace, your future. It all flows from what and who you allow close to it. If your spirit has already sent you a warning you couldn't explain, type "Lord, sharpen my discernment" in the comments right now, because this word was made for you. Let me ask you something nobody else has been brave enough to ask you. When was the last time you walked away from someone who smiled at you, someone who said all the right things and felt absolutely emptied out inside? Not tired from a long day, not drained from hard work, emptied, like something invisible had reached into your chest and taken something that belonged to you. You felt it. You know exactly what I'm describing. And what did you do with that feeling? You buried it. You told yourself you were being too sensitive, too suspicious, too unloving. You reminded yourself that good Christians don't judge people, that love covers, that maybe you were the problem. And so you went back, again and again. And every time you went back, a little more of your clarity disappeared. Here is what heaven needs you to understand right now. That feeling was not a flaw in your character. That unease was not anxiety. That heaviness was not weakness. That was God speaking before the evidence arrived. Because here is a truth the enemy does not want you to know. God almost never warns you with a loud voice and a flashing sign. He warns you with a quiet disturbance deep in your spirit, a gentle check, a subtle shift in your peace, like a check engine light on your dashboard, not dramatic, not loud, but absolutely impossible to ignore once you understand what it means. Proverbs 20:27 says, "The spirit of a man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his inner depths." God gave you a lamp. He placed it inside you. And that lamp flickers when something in your environment is not right. The question is, have you been listening to it? Most chosen people haven't. And the reason is heartbreaking. You were raised to be compassionate. You were taught to give people the benefit of the doubt. You were shaped by a lifetime of putting others first, rescuing the wounded, carrying what others dropped. And those are not bad qualities. Those are beautiful qualities. But the enemy studied you. He learned your pattern. And he learned that the fastest way to get past your discernment was not through aggression, it was through need. Because when someone appears wounded, you don't guard yourself. You open yourself. You lean in. You give more. You stay longer. And while your compassion is focused entirely on helping them, your peace is slowly bleeding out. This is not coincidence. This is strategy. Manipulation almost never begins with cruelty. It begins with emotional dependence. It begins with someone who needs you so completely that pulling back feels like abandonment. And for a chosen one with a generous heart, that guilt becomes a chain. Here is the line I need you to sit with. Peace is not the same as excitement. Chemistry is not the same as covenant. And need someone desperately needing you is not the same as assignment. Say that again to yourself. Because somewhere along the way, you confused those things. And that confusion has cost you years. You stayed in conversations that drained you because they felt spiritually intense. You mistook emotional adrenaline for spiritual connection. You mistook someone's hunger for your presence as evidence that God sent them. But smoke is not the same as fire. And a shepherd does not wait to see the wolf before he responds to the sound in the dark. Jesus said in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice. You have heard it." That quiet internal warning, you've heard it more than once. The discomfort you kept dismissing, kept explaining away, kept apologizing for, that was the voice of the shepherd telling you something was moving in the darkness around you. And here is what breaks my heart for you. You didn't distrust her. You distrusted yourself. You looked at your own discernment and called it paranoia. You looked at your own unease and called it pride. You silenced the very thing God placed inside you to protect you because you were afraid of seeming unloving. Chosen one. That is not humility. That is a wound the enemy has been exploiting for years. In a moment, we are going to uncover why chosen ones so often confuse compassion with responsibility, why you feel obligated to save people God never assigned to you, and why that confusion, that one deep confusion, has kept you connected to relationships that were quietly pulling you away from your purpose. Because here is the truth that should shake something loose inside you right now. The discomfort you kept dismissing, the heaviness after her calls, the fog after her visits, the way your prayers felt harder when she was close, that was not you failing to love well. That was God protecting you, faithfully, patiently, repeatedly. And He is still protecting you now. Don't ignore what your spirit has been trying to tell you. Stay with this message to the end, because what comes next will confirm exactly what you've already been sensing deep in your bones. Now that I have your attention, let me show you something that most people never see coming. Because the woman this warning is about, she did not walk into your life with red flags flying. She walked in with warmth. She walked in with understanding, with patience, with a presence that felt like finally, someone who gets me. And that feeling, that rare, intoxicating feeling of being truly seen, that is exactly where it begins. Not with cruelty, not with obvious manipulation, with kindness. Proverbs 14:12 says, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Not every beautiful road leads somewhere safe. Some roads are perfectly paved, perfectly lit, perfectly inviting, with no warning signs anywhere in sight, right up until the cliff. Think about how ivy grows on a strong tree. In the beginning, it looks almost beautiful. It wraps itself gently around the trunk. It climbs slowly, quietly, gracefully. Nobody sounds the alarm. Nobody calls it dangerous. But give it enough time, and that ivy will choke the life out of a tree that stood for decades. That is what certain attachments do to chosen people. They don't destroy you suddenly. They dismantle you slowly. Here is the progression, and I want you to pay close attention, because you may recognize yourself somewhere in these stages. It starts with warmth. She makes you feel safe, valued, chosen. Then comes fast closeness. Within weeks, sometimes days, she knows your deepest wounds, your greatest fears, your most private dreams. And it felt so natural, so effortless, like God himself sent her. Then, emotional dependency sets in. You start measuring your days by her reactions. Her approval becomes oxygen. Her silence becomes punishment. Then comes the guilt. Subtle at first. I thought you cared about me. I thought I could count on you. Words wrapped in softness but landing like stones. And finally, control through need. You are no longer a partner in this relationship. You are a caretaker, a rescuer, a hostage held not by chains, but by the terrifying fear of what happens to her if you leave. Silk ropes, chosen one. They feel soft, they feel gentle, but they still restrain. Here is what nobody talks about in church on Sunday morning. Some people have studied your wounds so carefully, they know exactly which door to knock on to get inside. They don't bypass your boundaries through force. They bypass them through tenderness, through vulnerability strategically placed, through tears at exactly the right moment, through need that always seems to peak whenever you try to pull back. And you stayed, because you are compassionate, because you are a fixer, because something in you, that beautiful, God-given something in you, cannot walk away from someone in pain. But hear me clearly, not every broken person is dangerous. Broken people are not the enemy, but brokenness without responsibility. Brokenness that refuses accountability, refuses growth, refuses to change while demanding everything from you. That kind of brokenness does not need a partner. It needs a host, and slowly, quietly, one leak at a time, it will sink you. Ask yourself this question right now, and do not look away from the answer. When was the last time that relationship produced genuine peace in your life? Not comfort, not familiarity, not the relief of avoiding conflict. Peace, because the Bible does not say, "Blessed are those who feel needed." It says in Philippians 4-7, "The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds." Guard. That word means protection from invasion. If a relationship is consistently robbing your peace rather than guarding it, that is not love. That is occupation. What you thought was support has become monitoring. What you thought was admiration has become possession. What you thought was emotional openness has become emotional obligation. You felt trapped not because anything dramatic happened, but because it never started badly. And that is the cruelest part of this trap. You cannot point to a single moment and say, that is when it went wrong, because it was designed to feel right all the way through. If this message is opening your eyes right now, take a moment and like this video, not just for the algorithm, because somewhere out there, another chosen one is sitting in the same quiet confusion you felt when this message started. And this warning may reach them just in time. Control does not always arrive through force. Sometimes it arrives through need, through guilt, through emotional urgency dressed in the language of love. And here is what I need you to hold on to as we go deeper. Recognizing the pattern is not betrayal, it is discernment. But the question that haunts every chosen person in this situation is not, is this wrong? The real question, the one that keeps you up at night, is this: why can't I leave, even when I already know? That answer is coming, and it will change everything. Chosen one, I need you to stay with me right here, because this is the part nobody talks about in church. This is the part that gets skipped over in Sunday morning sermons. But God is addressing it today directly, personally, and without apology. You were not destroyed by your enemies. You were worn down by your mercy. Think about that for a moment. The people who have cost you the most peace in your life, they were not strangers. They were people you chose to love, people you stayed for, people you kept believing in long after heaven had already released you from the assignment. And deep down, you already know this is true. Here is what God sees when He looks at you. He sees someone who felt other people's pain before they ever spoke a word. Someone who walked into a room and immediately sensed who was hurting, who was lost, who needed something. And instead of protecting your own spirit first, you moved toward the wound. That is not a flaw, That is a gift. But gifts without boundaries become graves. Proverbs 11:14 says, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls, and chosen one, that includes you. Because for too long you have been guiding everyone else while no one was guiding you. You have been holding everybody together while quietly falling apart on the inside. You were trained for this, not by God, but by pain. Think back. Who taught you that love meant sacrifice without limits? Who showed you that being needed was the same as being valued? Who rewarded you when you held the family together, dried everyone's tears, stayed calm in every storm, and then said nothing when you finally broke down yourself? You were taught that love is labor, that care means carrying, that if you just gave a little more, stayed a little longer, prayed a little harder, you could fix what was broken in someone else. But here is the truth that will set you free today. You cannot love someone into wholeness if they are not willing to do the work themselves. That is not your failure, that is their choice. There are people in your life right now, and yes, there may be a woman specifically who has learned exactly how to speak to that rescuer inside you. She does not have to be evil. She does not have to be calculating. She simply has to be broken in the exact shape that fits your need to heal something. And the moment you show up with your light, your wisdom, your strength, she holds on. Not because she wants your destiny, but because your stability feels like safety to someone who has never built their own. The Bible is clear in Galatians 6:2, bear one another's burdens. But read the very next verse. Verse 5 says, for each one shall carry his own load. There is a difference between helping someone carry a heavy moment and becoming the permanent foundation for someone who refuses to stand. You are a candle, chosen one, and you have been burning yourself down, every last inch of yourself, trying to light a room that keeps its curtains closed against the sun. You have carried people across rivers until the water reached your own neck. You have left your own flock, your own peace, your own calling, your own God-given assignment to chase after one person who was never going to be teachable until they first chose to be. And the most devastating part? You felt guilty for being tired. You called your exhaustion a lack of faith. You called your boundaries selfishness. You called your discernment judgment. And every time you tried to step back, something in you whispered, but what if they need me? What if I give up too soon? What if love just requires one more chance? That whisper is not the Holy Spirit. That is a wound dressed up as devotion. Jesus himself, the fullness of love, the embodiment of mercy, did not heal everyone he encountered. He did not stay where he was not received. Luke 9:5 records him saying plainly, wherever they do not receive you, shake the dust off your feet. Not in anger, not in bitterness, in wisdom. Even perfect love had limits on its proximity to resistance. So, what does that say about you, chosen one carrying someone who has never once asked God to change? Compassion without discernment is not virtue. It is self-betrayal dressed in the language of love. And God is calling you out of that pattern today. Not to make you hard, not to make you cold, but to make you whole enough to fulfill what he actually placed you on this earth to do. Because the next revelation goes even deeper. The real issue is not only who she is, it is what she awakens inside you. There is something she triggers in your spirit that feels holy but leads nowhere. And that confusion, that spiritual fog the moment you try to introduce a boundary, is not an accident. That fog has a source, and I am going to show it to you. If you have spent your life being the one who holds everybody together, but you know in your soul it has cost you your peace, your purpose, and your rest type. No more self-betrayal in the comments right now, because what comes next will finally give you permission to choose yourself without shame. You've been kind, patient, understanding. You gave grace when others would have walked away. You made excuses for behavior that hurt you. You bent yourself, your schedule, your peace, your boundaries, because you didn't want to seem cold. And still, Something inside you never fully settled. Now I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. What happened the last time you said no? Not a dramatic no, not a cruel no, just a quiet, gentle, God-given no. A simple, I need some space right now, or I can't talk tonight, or I have to put myself first this season. What happened? Because here is what the Bible already knows about people who are sent from God versus people who are sent to drain you. Proverbs 17:17 says, "A true friend loves at all times, not just when access is granted, not just when you are available, not just when you are giving, at all times." So watch what happens when you stop giving so freely. Watch carefully, because that reaction, that single moment of response, will tell you everything that months of kindness could not. This is the test most chosen people never think to apply, and it is the most revealing test there is. When you created distance, did she respect it, or did she weaponize it? Did she give you room, or did she suddenly make you feel guilty for needing air? Did she say, "Take all the time you need," or did she say, "I can't believe you're doing this to me"? There it is. That shift, that sudden coldness, that guilt language wrapped in soft words but carrying unmistakable weight, that quiet punishment disguised as hurt feelings, that accusation, "You've changed," as if your healing was an offense, as if your growth was a betrayal. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Your boundary did not create the problem, it revealed it. Like pressure on a cracked foundation, the weakness was always there. You just couldn't see it until something pushed. The boundary pushed, and what cracked under that pressure was never yours to carry. Think about what Jesus himself modeled. He withdrew, regularly, deliberately. Luke 5:16 tells us he often withdrew to lonely places to pray. The Son of God who healed the sick, raised the dead, fed thousands, he still said, "Not right now." He still created distance. He still protected his inner life, and no one who truly loved him punished him for it. The wrong presence always reacts to your peace, as if it is a personal attack. And here is where it cuts deep, because many of you already saw this reaction. You already felt the temperature drop the moment you stepped back. You already heard the guilt language. You already felt the emotional punishment land like a closed fist wrapped in silk. But you explained it away. You said, "She's just sensitive." You said, "She loves me. She didn't mean it that way." You said, "Maybe I was too harsh." And in that moment of self-doubt, you reopened the door you had finally been brave enough to close. That is the trap. Not the drama, not the argument, the self-doubt that follows, the confusion that makes you feel selfish for choosing peace, the voice that whispers, "Who are you to have standards?" That voice is not conviction. That is manipulation that has learned to speak in the language of your conscience. Chosen one, some people never loved your wholeness. They loved your access. They loved what they could pull from you, your time, your energy, your emotional availability, your faith, your stability. And the moment you protected those things, the relationship revealed what it was built on. Not love, access. And when access was threatened, love disappeared, because it was never love to begin with. Proverbs 4:23 commanded you to guard your heart above everything else, not occasionally, above everything. That means God already knew the heart is a target, and not everyone who stands close to it is standing there to protect it. Some are standing there studying it. Healthy people, people sent by God into your life, they do not react to your limits like it's a crime. They honor your pace. They respect your space. They celebrate your healing, even when your healing means less of you is available to them, because they are not there for what they can take. They are there for who you are. The difference is unmistakable once you know what you are looking for. And now, you know. If this message is speaking directly to your season, subscribe and stay to the end, because the final sections are where many chosen people finally receive the one thing they have been waiting for, permission to let go without guilt. Because next, we enter the emotional valley of this message. Why walking away from the wrong person can feel exactly like grief, even when leaving is completely right. And why that pain has been convincing you to stay somewhere God already told you to leave. Can I be honest with you for a moment? Not the kind of honest that sounds good from a pulpit, the kind of honest that sits with you at 2 inches the morning when the house is quiet and your heart won't stop aching over someone you had to let go. Because here is what nobody tells you about divine protection. Sometimes it feels exactly like loss. You pulled back, maybe slowly, maybe all at once, and now there is a silence where her voice used to be, a stillness where her presence used to fill the room, and instead of feeling rescued, you feel hollow, and you are asking God, if you were protecting me, why does this feel like punishment? Chosen one, I need you to hear this with everything in you. Obedience does not always feel like freedom at first. Sometimes obedience feels like grief. Sometimes following God's direction feels like walking away from the only warmth you had in a cold season. And that pain, that real, deep, unspoken pain, does not mean you made the wrong decision. It means you are human, and you loved. And love always costs something when it ends. John 11:35, the shortest verse in all of Scripture, says simply this: Jesus wept. Not because he didn't know the outcome. He knew Lazarus would rise. He wept because the people he loved were suffering in front of him. Because grief is not a sign of weak faith. Grief is the evidence that something mattered. So let your heart grieve. But do not let your grief rewrite the warning. Now I need to speak directly to you, the one who has lived long enough to know that loneliness is not a small thing. After decades of life, after years of loss, spouses gone, friendships faded, children grown, and distant, the arrival of someone who notices you, who calls to check on you, who makes you feel seen again. That is not nothing. That is everything. And I am not going to minimize that. But I need to ask you a hard question. And I need you to sit with it. Are you holding on because the relationship is holy, or because the loneliness is unbearable? Because sometimes we do not grieve the person. We grieve the hope we wrapped around them. We grieve the version of the story we wanted so desperately to be true. We wanted this to be safe. We wanted this to be from God. We wanted this to finally be the one connection that would not cost us our peace. And admitting that it isn't, that might be the hardest thing you've ever done. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, not close to the strong, not close to the certain, close to the broken." That means, right now, in this valley, in this ache, God is not far away watching. He is right here, closer than the grief itself. Think of it this way: a surgeon does not apologize for the incision. The cut is not cruelty, it is the pathway to healing. But in the moment, on the table, all you feel is the blade. You don't feel the cure yet, you only feel the opening. That is where some of you are right now. On the table, feeling the incision, wondering if this was a mistake. It was not a mistake. The gardener cuts back the branches in winter not to destroy the tree, but because he already sees the spring fruit that requires the pruning. What looks like devastation in December becomes abundance in April, but you have to trust the hand holding the shears. And here is the truth that will either set you free or sting like fire, depending on where you are right now. Sometimes you are not losing love. You are losing an illusion. You are losing the idea of what you hoped she was, the projection of what you needed her to be. And losing an illusion, even a beautiful one, still hurts like losing something real. But an illusion cannot carry you into your destiny. An illusion cannot cover you in the battles ahead. An illusion will smile at you in the light and leave you exposed in the dark. You deserve more than an illusion. Chosen one, you did not walk this far through this much life, this much loss, this much faithfulness to have your final chapter quietly redirected by a connection that was never sent by God. You walked this far to arrive at something real. And the distance you are feeling right now, that uncomfortable, aching space between what was and what is coming, that distance is not abandonment. That distance is divine preparation. God is not removing comfort from your life. He is removing interference from your destiny. And in the next section, we move from this valley into something you have been waiting for revelation. Because now that your eyes are adjusting to the truth, it is time to show you exactly what God is building in the space she used to occupy. If this part touched a wound, you rarely talk about a grief you carry quietly, a release that still costs you something. Write in the comments right now, God, heal what I had to release, because healing begins the moment you finally name what you're carrying. Chosen one, stay with me right here, because what I'm about to say is going to reframe everything you've been grieving. That distance you felt, that sudden quiet where there used to be noise, that empty space where someone used to stand, you called it loss. God called it mercy. And there is a difference between the two that could change the entire trajectory of your life, starting today. Here is a truth that most people are never brave enough to receive. Not every departure is a betrayal. Some exits are engineered by heaven itself. Some doors don't just close on their own. God shuts them, locks them, and then he stands in front of them so you cannot go back. Not because he is punishing you, because he has already seen what is waiting on the other side of your obedience. John 15:2 says it plainly. Every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Pruning is not cruelty. Pruning is preparation. And you cannot experience the fruit of your next season while you are still feeding the roots of the wrong one. So let me ask you something, and I need you to sit with this question honestly. How much of your energy has been going toward maintaining a connection that God already ended? How many mornings have you woken up exhausted, not from work, not from life, but from the invisible labor of holding on to something heaven already let go of? That is not love. That is a leash. And the enemy knows that as long as you are tied to yesterday, you cannot walk into tomorrow. Look at the pattern God has used since the very beginning of Scripture. Abraham was separated from his homeland before he became the father of nations. Joseph was separated from his family before he was elevated to the palace. Moses was separated into the wilderness for 40 years before God trusted him with the assignment of a lifetime. David was separated from the comfort of his father's house before the crown was placed on his head. Do you see it? Separation before elevation, wilderness before assignment, pruning before fruit. This is not coincidence. This is the fingerprint of God on a life he is serious about. And if you have felt the sting of distance recently, if someone pulled back, if a relationship cooled, if access was quietly removed, do not be so quick to call it rejection. Ask yourself first, could this be redirection? Because here is what misaligned relationships actually do to a chosen life. They don't destroy you loudly, they drain you quietly. They consume the focus you need for your calling. They absorb the peace required for your next chapter. They fill the space where clarity should live with noise, confusion, and second-guessing. Your destiny requires something very specific from you. It requires your full presence, your sharpest discernment, your most undistracted attention. And certain people who were attached to your wounded version, your smaller boundaries, your old way of surviving, they simply cannot travel where God is now taking you, not because they are evil, but because they belong to a chapter that is already closed. A gardener does not hate the roots he separates. He understands that rot left unchecked will eventually reach the healthy vine. He acts not out of anger, but out of wisdom, because he can see what the root cannot. God sees what you cannot see yet. He sees the wolves circling the gate. He sees the cost of that connection 2 years from now. He sees the version of you that gets buried under the wrong attachment versus the version that walks in freedom, in power, in purpose. And in his love, his fierce, protective, father-like love. He closes the gate before the damage is done. Now hear me clearly on this, and this may be the hardest part to receive. Some of you are not grieving the loss of the relationship itself. You are grieving the loss of who you believed that person was. You are mourning an image, a version of that person you created in your own compassionate heart that may have never fully existed. And God is not asking you to become cold. He is asking you to become clear, because clarity is not cruelty. Clarity is the beginning of every great assignment. Ephesians 5:14 says, "Wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Wake up, rise. There is light ahead of you that the wrong company has been blocking. What left your life was not taken from you. It was removed for you, and the space it left behind is not emptiness. It is room. Room for the right people. Room for the right assignment. Room for the version of God's plan that has been waiting patiently, faithfully waiting for you to become available to receive it. You are not starting over. You are stepping up. If someone in your life right now keeps choosing guilt over peace, keeps choosing the familiar over the freedom God is offering, share this message with them today, because this warning may be the very word that finally sets them free. And now we come to the deepest layer, the final test for discerning whether someone truly belongs in your next season. What I'm about to reveal may change how you view every close relationship from this point forward. Now, right here, this is where everything changes. You felt it in the hook. You recognized it in your spirit. And now God is about to hand you something you can carry for the rest of your life. A test, not a complicated one, not one that requires a theology degree or 40 years of Bible study. Just one question. One devastating, clarifying, life-changing question. Is this person aligned with who God called me to be, or are they simply drawn to who I appear to be? Because chosen one, there is a difference. And that difference is everything. Let me show you something nobody talks about in church. Attention feels like love. Attention feels like being chosen. Attention feels like finally someone sees you. And when you have been lonely long enough, when you have been overlooked long enough, when you have carried your calling in silence long enough, attention feels like rain on dry ground. But hear me carefully. Not all rain is sent to grow you. Some rain is floodwater. And floodwater does not nourish the field. Floodwater destroys it. The difference between attention and alignment is not always visible on the surface. That is exactly why so many chosen people, brilliant, faithful, God-fearing people, have lost years of their lives to the wrong connection, because they mistook emotional intensity for spiritual confirmation. Attention makes you feel seen for a moment. Alignment strengthens who God called you to be for a lifetime. Attention flatters your wounds. Alignment honors your peace, your purpose, your pace, and your growth. Attention seeks access. Alignment supports assignment. Write that down. Put it on your wall. Because what I just gave you is a spiritual filter that will protect the rest of your days. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Not a stranger, not an enemy, a companion. Someone close, someone you chose, someone you let in. The harm does not always come from outside the gate. Sometimes you open the gate yourself because the knock sounded familiar, because the voice was warm, because the timing felt like God. Now let me give you the test. 5 questions. Answer them honestly, even if the answers hurt. Does this connection sharpen your clarity or increase your confusion? Does it respect your timing or force urgency on decisions God never rushed? Does it honor your boundaries or quietly resent them? Does it produce consistent peace or leave you exhausted in ways you cannot fully explain? Does it feed your purpose or feed emotional chaos that pulls you further from it? Chosen one, If you answered that second set of words more than once, you already know what God has been trying to tell you. You have known for a while. You just kept hoping you were wrong. And here is the pain point nobody wants to name out loud. Some of you stayed. Not because you were blind. Not because you were weak. You stayed because attention, real, focused, consistent attention felt like healing. After years of being dismissed, after seasons of feeling invisible, after carrying a calling that nobody around you seemed to understand, someone finally showed up who made you feel chosen. And you confused being chosen by a person with being confirmed by God. That is not your failure. That is your wound being exploited. The enemy is not stupid. He studied you. He knows what you have been starving for, and he is more than willing to send someone who feeds that hunger just long enough to pull you off course. Isaiah 30:21 says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" God's voice leads. It does not pressure. It does not manipulate. It does not create chaos and call it passion. Think about it this way. A spotlight can make you feel seen, but a spotlight also blinds you. It narrows your vision. It traps you in one bright circle while everything outside it goes dark. Sunrise does not demand your attention. Sunrise simply fills the entire sky. That is what true alignment feels like. It does not overwhelm you. It illuminates everything, your purpose, your path, your peace. And a key that fits your lock does not scratch. It does not force. It does not require you to reshape the door. It simply turns. Now hear the climax of this entire teaching. Let it settle into your bones. Just because someone is drawn to you does not mean they are assigned to walk with you. Attraction is not appointment. Intensity is not intimacy. Presence is not purpose. God assigns people to your life with intentionality. And what God assigns produces fruit, not confusion, not exhaustion, not a slow erosion of everything He built in you. John 15:16. You did not choose me, I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. Fruit, not fatigue, fruit. If your connection is not producing fruit in your calling, your character, and your peace, it is not an assignment. It is a distraction wearing the face of destiny. If this distinction hit you hard today, comment right now, "I choose alignment over attention." Declare it. Because what you declare, you begin to defend. And chosen one, what God is about to release into your life in this next season is too important to let the wrong presence delay it one more day. Chosen one, I need you to hear this next part with every ounce of discernment God placed inside you. Because this is where most people make the mistake. They point to one good day, one sweet moment, one conversation that felt like the old times, and they use that single moment to erase everything the pattern has been screaming. But moments can be manufactured, patterns cannot. A person can give you one beautiful afternoon and still be the reason your calling has been stalled for 3 years. A person can say all the right things on Sunday and still leave your spirit wrecked by Monday morning. One good moment does not cancel a consistent pattern of destruction. Matthew 7:16 does not say, "You will know them by their best days." It says, "You will know them by their fruit." Fruit, not performance, not potential. Fruit. So let me ask you something that might be uncomfortable, and I need you to sit with it honestly. How many times have you walked away from that connection feeling confused about who you are? How many times has a simple conversation left you questioning your calling, your worth, your direction? How many times have you said no and watched that no get ignored, guilted, or slowly dismantled until you said yes again? That is not love. That is leverage. And the enemy has been using it against you on a loop. Here is what darkness understands that we often forget. Repetition normalizes dysfunction. The cycle does not have to be violent to be destructive. It just has to keep repeating. Every time the storm returns, the cracks in the wall grow wider. You patch it. You forgive. You try again. And the next storm hits the same wall already weakened from before. Look at the footprints, not where they claim to be going. Look at where they have consistently walked. The same mud, the same circle, the same patterns leading back to the same damage in your spirit. Proverbs 26:11 says it plainly. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his foolishness. Chosen one, that is not just about the other person. That verse is also a warning for you, because returning to what God has already shown you is dangerous, is its own kind of cycle. Now I want to address something that lives deep in the chest of every compassionate person listening right now, the war between wisdom and loneliness. Because this is the real battlefield. It is not out there, it is in here. It is that 2 a.m. silence, when wisdom says walk away, and loneliness says, but what if no one else comes? It is that internal negotiation where you give one more chance, then another, not because the fruit changed, but because the silence of being alone feels heavier than the damage of staying. And the enemy knows this about you. He has studied your compassion like a blueprint. He knows that chosen people, people with big hearts and deep faith, are most vulnerable not to cruelty, but to need. Someone presenting themselves as fragile, someone making their vulnerability your responsibility, someone turning their emotional instability into a leash around your neck and calling it love. That is pressure disguised as vulnerability, and it has held more anointed people in the wrong place longer than any open persecution ever has. Listen, some people are not evil, let me say that clearly. Some people are genuinely broken, genuinely hurting, genuinely in need. But broken and safe are not the same thing. And your compassion, as beautiful as it is, was never meant to be the anchor that holds a drowning person up while you go under with them. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and you cannot walk in your calling while someone is quietly, consistently pulling you off course. Now, here is the final test I promised you earlier. Not chemistry, not history, not how long you have known each other, not how much they have been through. The ultimate test is this. What has this connection consistently produced in your spirit over time? Has it produced clarity or confusion? Has it produced courage or self-doubt? Has it moved you closer to God or pulled you toward compromise? Has your prayer life deepened or gone quiet? Has your obedience sharpened or slowed? That is the test. That is the fruit. There is a bell ringing in your spirit right now. You have heard it before. You ignored it because you hoped things would change. But chosen one, that bell has not stopped ringing. And heaven is asking you today, how many more times will you let it ring before you finally answer? The pattern is the prophecy. If the fruit keeps stealing your peace, heaven is not asking you to stay and call it love. God does not send confusion and call it companionship. He does not send drain and call it devotion. He does not send a connection that silences your calling and call it a blessing. Before you move on to anything else today, stop. Ask yourself one honest question. What has this connection consistently produced in my spirit? Not what you hope it will produce, not what it produced once 6 months ago. What has it consistently, repeatedly, undeniably produced in your peace, your focus, your identity, and your walk with God? Your answer is already there. And deep down, chosen one, you already know it. Chosen one. We have walked a long road together in this message. And before we close, I need you to hear this one final truth with everything inside you. Your spirit was not lying. It was never lying. Every time you felt that quiet unease, every time you walked away from a conversation feeling emptier than when you arrived, every time you smiled on the outside while something deep in your soul whispered, something is not right here, that was not paranoia. That was God. That was the Holy Spirit, faithful and precise, doing exactly what he promised in John 16:13. He will guide you into all truth. All truth. Not just the comfortable truth. Not just the truth that costs you nothing. The truth that protects your calling even when it breaks your heart. And beloved, at this stage of your life, your peace is too precious to surrender to confusion. You have earned that peace. You have fought for it. You have buried grief, survived betrayal, rebuilt yourself more times than anyone knows. And now, right now, God is standing at the door of your next chapter, holding it open, saying, "Come, but come with clean hands and a quiet spirit." You cannot carry what He is preparing for you if your arms are still full of what He already warned you to release. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every purpose under heaven." This is your season of sacred protection, not bitterness, not walls, not hardness of heart, but the holy, courageous, God-honoring act of guarding what He placed inside you. The right relationships, the ones heaven sends, will never punish your honesty. They will never mock your boundaries. They will never feed on your exhaustion or grow stronger every time you grow weaker. The right people will make you feel more like yourself, not less. More connected to God, not more distracted from Him. If someone's presence consistently pulls you away from prayer, away from purpose, away from peace that is not love, that is a leak, and God is calling you to close it. Not in anger, in authority, because you are not being called to harden your heart. You are being called to honor what God is trying to protect. Read that again. Let it settle into your bones. You are not closing doors out of fear. You are closing the wrong door so you can finally hear the right knock. You are not blowing out the flame. You are guarding the oil in your lamp, because Matthew 25 made it clear there comes a moment when no one can give you what only preparation provides. Your next season requires emotional maturity. It requires spiritual clarity. It requires the kind of sacred focus that cannot survive in a house full of noise, drama, and deliberate confusion. And you are ready. You are more ready than you know. So right now, let us go before God together. Father, in the name of Jesus, protect this chosen one from every spirit of manipulation that has studied their kindness and learned how to weaponize it. Heal every rescue pattern that taught them their value was measured by how much they could carry for someone else. Break every chain of guilt that kept them bound to relationships that God Himself had already marked for release. Restore the full weight of their discernment. Let them feel again what they have been trained to ignore. Let their spirit become sharp, clear, and unafraid to speak what it knows. Give them the courage, the holy, quiet, unshakable courage to step back from every space where their peace has been steadily stolen. And Lord, send the right ones. Send the divine connections that belong to this next chapter. Send relationships built on truth, on mutual honor, on kingdom purpose. Relationships that make them stronger, not smaller. Seal this prayer with the blood of Jesus and let it echo into every area of their life that has been waiting for this moment of release. In Jesus' name, it is done. Amen. Chosen one, lift your head. You came into this message with a question you were afraid to ask. You leave with an answer God has been trying to give you for longer than you realize. You are not confused anymore. You are clear. You are not guilty anymore. You are free. You are not behind. You are not too old. You are not too damaged. You are positioned right now, in this very moment, at the entrance of a season that requires exactly who you have become. Walk into it with dignity. Walk into it with discernment. Walk into it knowing that the God who warned you. If you receive this word, write, "I will guard my peace" in the comments right now. Let heaven see your agreement. Subscribe if you want more messages that bring biblical depth, spiritual clarity, and real strength for the season you are living in. And send this to one person, just one, who has been confusing guilt with love. Because someone in your life needs this word today just as much as you did. Go forward, chosen one. Clean hands, quiet spirit, and a God who has never once stopped watching over you.